Okay, we back.
So, y'all, hi. Welcome back to Raw Talk, Not Food. My vagina is clenched so tight right now with our new guest. I can't even tell you. They are talking birth, babies. I'm on the journey, as y'all know.
Everybody, welcome to Corey.
Hello,
Corey
everyone.
up in here. Corey has been one of my, the best of best. Between her and Vanessa, two of my besties forever. I've known Vanessa since college, as y'all know. But Corey and I met because I broke up with my ex. We had a mutual friend that lived upstairs in this complex.
Yes.
I broke up with my ex, and you and your ex-husband moved into our apartment once we broke up. So when Superman and I broke up,
we knew each other.
Yeah.
We had spent a handful of occasions together, but we didn't know each other. We weren't friends yet.
Exactly.
And so me and my ex-husband moved into their amazing cursed apartment.
That was a great apartment.
It was an amazing apartment, except for the men that lived in it.
I can't believe we're still talking about Superman to this day. That's hilarious.
It was a journey.
It was lovely. It was a journey.
There you go.
He had nothing to offer at the end, unfortunately.
There you go.
Sorry if you're listening.
Yeah.
But I think my ex and I lasted a year to a year and a half after that.
Wow.
And then I moved upstairs to our mutual girlfriends to escape. I literally moved in with her and her husband for 2 or 3 months, I think it was.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I actually thought about it,
I would go to the mic, Corey.
I would figure it out. But yeah, so it's the cursed apartment, and Shanna and I
fell in love.
Yeah, we fell in love.
It was great.
Through the cursed apartment.
We both were single, and then game on. We were good. We were clever with being single.
Well, let's be real. Friends can be the loves of your life.
Absolutely.
And that's fact. That's the thing.
Fact.
Yes.
We've slept together many, many times.
Many times. Yes. G people, G rated, but yes, many times. Yes.
Yeah, sometimes you just need that cuddle.
I know. And I'm so glad that we're all connected here today.
Yes.
This is like making me so happy because you both have baby. You guys are just sharing. Corey was
Thank
first
God
to have
for you because
her awesome son.
Yeah, being a first time mom is hard, and you have so many realities that kind of hit you in the face and upside your head and all over the place. And I was just like,
my bachelorette was real sexy. She was pregnant. Corey was like massaging her, teaching her about like all the bloatedness, and everyone else was drunk.
You were warming your nipples in the sun with paper towels.
Yeah.
It's insane. I went to the bathroom, and next thing you know, there was like this crazy pain. First of all, I'm a woman with no boobs for my whole life, and all of a sudden I have them, and I'm like, whoa, all right, I don't know what to do, how to fit them, how to wear them.
Mama Corey's like, come here. I'm drunk, like jumping off of something. Like
I run out to like a pool full of like drunk women. Yeah. And I was just like
drunk moms, so we're all having a blast.
No kids,
And they were like, oh,
moms got wild.
Like the painful nipples, yes. We need to take care of you.
Yeah. That's why I'm clenching my vagina still because of all this birth talk and all of that.
It was rough, It was but it was great because you had a whole bunch of women who knew, no judgment, and was like, this is what you do. And inside of like 2 minutes, it was like,
yeah. Which was good, yes. And then, I did massage your legs for a good hour, I think. Which I learned later after
rough, girl.
I was rough and I was drunk, and it probably wasn't the smartest thing because of all of the toxins in your legs.
The lymphatic drainage. Really important for pregnant women to really do.
Yes, exactly. A professional should be doing it, not.
But it was brilliant when you did do it because after a while, I was like, oh.
Well, your legs came down, I think, by like half the size.
Yeah,
it was crazy. It was intense what you were going through. But
it's crazy.
All this being said, what you're witnessing right now is a whole bunch of socialization and a whole bunch of friendship happening. And we thought it would be great to just kind of talk about...
Love it.
Yes. Social awkwardness.
Well,
just socializing and just kind of being in groups with people, communicating and sharing yourself and stuff like that.
So, Corey, what do you do with your life? Please tell everybody.
What do I do with my life? Okay, first of all, there are 3 things in front of me. What am I looking at?
Just look at us.
I'm looking at all of you guys. Okay. So what do I do with my life? Aside from the fact that I am a mom of a 4.5-year-old, wife to a pain in the ass actor.
Good man. Good man.
I'm a wine rep, so I sell wine to restaurants, to retailers, and to people that export, and they spend a lot of money with me, and it's fun.
Does that mean you're a sommelier?
Yes.
I am not certified sommelier, but I am certified WSET 2, which is there are a handful of different tests that are actually all done in England. The main masters are over there. So I'm WSET 2, which is wine spirits education training. So it is a different sort of sommelier. I just haven't taken the sommelier test, but if sommelier 1 is less difficult than WSET 2. So I'm just different certification.
Okay.
So technically I could be, but I just haven't done it.
What does sommelier even mean?
It's a French word. So sommelier basically you've been trained in everything about wine.
Haven't you?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I have the certification too. Right. It's the
prestige. Is there prestige to it?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. You should. I'm fancy, and you know it. Come on.
I know.
No, it's like being trained in anything. It's, you guys went to school for acting. Right. That's fancy. You guys aren't just actors that are servers in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. You actually have. Yeah, exactly.
Got it.
So I know the difference in dirt that the wine's grown in. I used to be. Let's go back. When I used to do my first wine tasting, and I went to Napa for the first time, and I was like, but where are the Sauvignon Blancs? Because I like Sauvignon Blanc. Well, guess what? Napa ain't real good for growing Sauvignon Blancs because it's a hot climate grape. So Napa can grow Sauvignon Blancs. Is it prevalent? No. You're looking at Chardonnays, Cabernets, like Pinot Noir. I also Paso Robles. Where's the Pinots? I love the Pinot. It's too hot for Pinot. So that's the kind of stuff, really? I would go in.
But that's why the San Ynez Valley is great for Pinot.
Exactly.
Yep. Got it.
Yeah. And that area, you and I were talking about it last weekend. There's so many different microclimates up there. Yeah. My sister lives in Arroyo Grande.
The Central Coast, California.
Hot as hell up there.
Yes.
But then if you're down in San Luis Obispo, Edna Valley, you've got kind of the
Tascadero is hot. Arroyo Grande is nice.
Sorry, I meant a Tascadero, yeah.
And it's like, 20 minutes?
Exactly,
from each
exactly.
Oh, the difference is like the Valley in Santa Monica.
Sure.
But that's the different stuff that you learn as a sommelier or WSET 2 or whatever you've taken. There's CSW, there's all sorts of different exams. But you just learn where grapes grow, why they grow, the dirt they grow in, the way they trellis the grapes, the way they pick the grapes, the way they juice the grapes, they age the grapes,
the kind of grape,
exactly,
all that kind of jazz. Yeah, I love that. That's amazing.
You do to a certain extent.
Now that you know all of this,
like anything, right?
Do you judge people when they come in your house with a bottle of wine? Like if they is there any judge? But let's just be real. Like let's say if a person's like, I don't know the difference, and they bring it in, or if someone's like, things are real fancy.
I have straight up poured one of your wines down the drain. Do you remember that?
It wasn't mine. It was something my mom and dad.
You jacked it from your mom's house.
I did. I did not want to go back to the store, and my mom was like, "Take it. It's a good bottle." I won't shame anybody's bottle of wine.
And I won't shame the wine.
But Corey was like, "This is what we're gonna do." She took it. She opened it. I was like, "Oh yeah." She's like, down the sink because it's all sugar.
It was really high sugar. Yeah. It was a red wine that had a lot of it's called residual sugar, and it was a hangover in a bottle.
Yeah, she said.
And I was like, here we go. We're gonna open this instead. And I
perfect.
Was I judging? No, I don't judge on. I have people that literally go.
Care for
no. That was like, girl, you're gonna have a headache.
So my mom's always like, I don't feel good the next day, but she's like, she likes sugary wine.
Exactly.
Like,
she does.
Yeah.
But that
I'm guilty of not being, especially in your beginning years of drinking. Period of like the box wine, the Carlo Rossi,
Quail Creek,
Rossi,
that's where I became a wine drinker. Was Whole Foods Quail Creek, which was like $2.99, and you could get 4 of them for $10. Well, my company makes that stuff, and it's a gateway wine.
Yes,
and we the company that it's training wine drinkers, and it's so then we move up to this guy, and then we move up to the Napa, and it's growing a whole generation of wine drinkers. So I did the same thing.
I love it. I love it.
Was there anything when
Remember
you
Strawberry Field or Strawberry Hill?
Yeah, Strawberry Hill. Yes.
Up in here, Zima, Bones. They still sell
Zima.
Zima
Come
somewhere.
on, y'all.
Zima.
Like that's just.
It's like White Claw though now. Zima to
That
me is
White
like,
Claw
yeah.
now.
Did you?
Yeah.
We just discovered. Topher and I just discovered a kombucha beer.
Oh yeah.
No carbs.
Yep.
Gluten free. Yeah, and
That's
like
why I don't do beer.
115 calories.
Ooh.
But it's
Where did you buy
kombucha.
it?
Ralph's.
Okay.
Don't sell it at Vaughn's, I guess. Ralph's is
Okay.
a grocery store here, if whoever is not from Cali. And then they
Great
sell it
liquor
at
options.
Costco, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Okay.
they're not cheap.
Still not venturing into Costco yet, but
No.
we won't get started on that.
Okay, I still do.
Wear your mask
Oh,
around.
okay, yeah.
Wear a mask.
Wait, okay,
Public
so was
safety.
there a wine that you look at? Because, okay, I'll be honest, you know me, I've been in your house a million times with wine. I just grab things, personally, things I will drink on my budget
Totally.
because I feel like I can't please everybody, so I'm
That's
like,
how I
I'm going to
choose
end up
wine.
drinking it myself. But I don't know what I'm
Absolutely.
doing half the time.
I'll be real. I choose wine based on cost. So if I
Absolutely.
love you, I'll get like
I love you.
13 and above, right?
13 and above, and
Yeah.
then where do you cap?
I'm like, there has to be a cap.
There is a cap. There's like a
I love you that
$25
much.
cap.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
wow, that's a nice
As it
bottle
should
of
be.
wine.
That's
Okay.
nice, right?
Yeah, that's totally nice.
That is
Yeah,
nice.
and then again, if I love you, you'll be closer to the 20s, whereas if not, in mid-range or
So
depending
now
on
I
cheap and
know how you
cheerful,
feel about
shut
me
up.
the next time.
You cheap and cheerful.
And then sometimes if I'm just not in the mood and I need some I won't go to the $2 check. Those days are gone. But
Yeah.
I'll cook with $2 check though. Those are great cooking
Absolutely.
wines. But you know you can find some really good $6-7 wines at Trader Joe's, which
Well, and that's the thing. We make a lot. My company makes a lot of
Yeah.
those wines,
Yeah.
and they are good wines. And the reason why they are so inexpensive is because Trader Joe's is private labeling them. Trader Joe's goes into the winery and picks it up themselves to cut delivery costs
Oh,
down.
interesting.
Nice.
And the winery that I work for, we have 40,000 acres of properties, so there's so many grapes to source from. Whereas if you have a startup winery that had to buy really expensive land or can't even buy land and they're buying grapes because they can't even afford the land, that bottle price is going to be way higher and it doesn't mean the wine's better.
Interesting.
good to know.
Great.
If it's
to
a
know.
newer winery, they're trying to recover their costs. They're trying, there's all
sure.
sorts of factors. So you
Profit,
can't look
yeah.
at a $40 bottle and say that's going to be better than the $15 bottle. You can't do it.
Great
you have
tip.
And that's one
good
of the
to
reasons
know.
why I started studying, because I was always so annoyed going in and looking at imports and be like, yeah, I see where it's from, but I don't know what the grape is, or why is this
Right.
better? And
Right. And why is this $45?
Exactly.
Why is this $90 versus
the $45 is because of
Yeah.
oak aging, because the barrels that they used were treated by something and they cost so much more money. Did it give lovely nuances to the wine? Absolutely.
Sure.
Is
Worth
it better?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
It just depends on your taste profile, and that's exactly it. Bring what you're going to drink, because that's typical. Unless
And
it's
if you
a
like
gift.
the font, I like the. Sometimes I like the font.
The labeling
font?
is a great way to do
I'm
it.
just saying that's
labeling
big
is
business
true.
right here. There's something
Absolutely.
to that.
Marketing for sure.
Now, have you ever? But I've been disappointed in that
But you
too.
eat with your eyes. You drink
It's
with
true.
that's the first thing that you do is
Oh, I like that. Eat with your eyes. It's true.
It's true.
Am I paying more for that though?
You have.
I have, for
Are
sure.
you going to? Should you do it? No.
But they were smart enough to make it look pretty and stand out.
Yes, absolutely.
There's just
Okay, so you sell wines. You
Yes.
have wine tastings.
Yes.
She has wine parties.
I have wine parties.
I
I
like to
have
frequent those.
wine.
As a job. How amazing is that? That's phenomenal. And you can, this happens at 11 in the morning. It happens at,
It's all day long.
that's like
sorry,
a
not-
license to drink.
I'm training people in the gym, and she's like, "I'm on number 3." I'm like, "Oh, can we trade, please?"
Where I'm like, yeah, please, because I feel like crap, and you're training at the gym right now.
Yeah, I guess grass is greener.
But my job is a blast.
Sure.
Does it lead to bad decision making with lifestyle choices? Absolutely. So
Like what? Like you'll drink and then you'll eat and be like, "Who gives a shit? The day's over anyway," kind of thing. Because you're a woman that stays
No,
in
but you
great
got-
shape.
Yeah,
though.
but she's got
You're good with that.
kids. She's got.
I do
yeah.
I do work out every day. I have to in order to get the wine out of my system. I have
You
to.
force yourself.
I force myself every single day. It's just I feel good that way. I will,
course.
no matter what, the mom side, the wine side, I feel fat, all of it. I just feel better.
Yeah. Get that.
when you are at work and some people are doing tastings with you because you're trying to sell to them and they want you to drink with them because some people don't want you to drink at all. Some people don't offer you a glass to taste. Some people will not buy from you unless you sit down and you're their friend and you have a glass of wine with them. That glass leads to 2. Then you get home and your kid is clawing at, and then you want to have a glass of wine at home because you want to relax and then you have a sec. So there are days where it's like, okay, so no, because I started at 11, I had 5 glasses of wine, exactly. That's where it kind of gets a little...
So there's a whole etiquette to the whole wine thing. Okay, so that leads us to my questions anyway was...
She's really excited about this question. Okay, yeah.
I was like, I feel like I'm coming back for like 5 podcasts.
Welcome. I love it.
Totally.
Killing it, Corey.
Socialization is like the big human kind of crossover, right? And alcohol is a great way.
Absolutely.
So with the etiquette, they have to offer it to you, right?
Yes.
Or you don't pour one for yourself automatically.
So there's different types of buyers. There are the ones that you go in and it's all work for them, and it's just like, okay, let me taste. Okay, I'll email
controlling
you.
their intake too.
Yeah, exactly. I'll email you, and then you're in and you're out. There are the other ones where you walk in and it's an automatic. They pour you because they'll even grab the bottle and start pouring. It's not even my show any longer.
Sure.
So it's automatic. Okay, here you're having a glass with me, and then there's the ones in between. Like, oh, are you going to join me today? And so there's all sorts of it. But that is what this job is socialization. This job is reading the weird room and the weird personalities and figuring out how you're going to mold yourself to that appointment.
It's an art in itself.
It is. It's
you don't
exhausting.
need a degree for that. You need a degree probably for that.
It's exhausting.
Degree,
yeah. I have a fun job, but it's very emotionally exhausting.
And mentally like taxing, I'm sure. So, all right. And then gets to it. What do you do with the social awkwardness? Because I'm sure everybody at some point here qualifies themselves as, oh, I'm awkward in that place.
Yes.
Or I'm shy, or I'm this, or I'm that. And it's like, what do I do in that scenario?
So
I don't have their skills.
I am just one of those people. A perfect example is, like I said, Shanna said, come over for a podcast. I'm like, okay, whatever. Right. I personally believe I have social Tourette's. I really do. I don't say...
I don't even know what that means.
Well, I don't like spaz out in the middle of things, but I just speak.
You do.
And I say the wrong things all the time.
Yeah, but you never apologize.
Oh, no. I leave and I'll look at Andrew and be like, that was kind of inappropriate. He's like, yeah. I'm like, well, they kind of knew. And he's like, well, and I'm like, well, I don't care.
That's great. That's outgoing. That's adventurous. Yeah.
Whenever I enter a new situation, the good thing is so I do truly believe, like I said, I have social Tourette's, but I was also raised with etiquette. And so I do know how to go into each new situation and be calm and be reserved and read the situation. And then as I get to know those people through the next 2 or 3 appointments, that's when I start kind of becoming myself.
So you have your manners.
I do. And there are flat out accounts that I'm like, we don't gel. I'm just not going to come back.
Yeah.
It's been a few different situations where I just stop reaching out to them. Or if they're, adamant that they want to work with not necessarily me, but the wines that I sell, I've had words with people because it's a 2-way street. It's not like I'm an employee at a restaurant where I have to, I could get fired. I could get in trouble. But it's a relationship, I'm going to respect you, you respect me, because this is my time just like it's your time. So, because they can choose to not buy from me and I could choose to not sell to them. But I've had only a few of those situations.
Really? So they can be out and out rude.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And because you are, as a woman, in that position, and having to deal with that on a professional level, how do you deal with that?
I will tell you so typically I fight back a little bit. If you're snarky to me, and especially as a man, I snark back.
I'm
Like,
with you on that one.
it's just like, you said this. Well, no, actually, I didn't say that. I said I was going to bring this on this day and that time, and that's when I'm going to be there. So, but I don't do it right away. It's once you've pushed me a couple times.
Sure.
There was one time I was called into a general manager's office at a private swanky club in Pasadena. And this was an older gentleman, and he's probably, I'd say, in his late 60s, and he's been at private clubs his entire career. Jonathan Club, and he's just a certain type of guy,
Yeah.
And he...
Let me guess, is he white?
No.
Oh, he's not.
No.
Interesting. I totally made a prejudiced judgment.
I was like, I am not going to say his race.
Wow. I was thinking, okay, out there. That's good.
No.
Totally being prejudiced at that moment.
great.
Okay, go
He's
on. I don't
also
want to
not
expose the guy.
any ethnic person that's here either.
There you go.
There's no ethnicity in this house that he is.
Go on. I'm sorry.
See, I'm PC. I'm polite.
Working on the trends.
And he proceeded to take me down as many pegs as he could. And the biggest thing in that moment was that he also kept telling me that he was treating me as if I was his daughter. And my father's passed away.
I've had that, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he kept saying it and kept saying it. And it was a situation where I couldn't.
Oh, and your father passed away.
Yeah, and it was one of those situations where I couldn't be my snarky self because it was going to lead to me getting kicked out of this account, and it's a good account of mine and all of that stuff. And
you're a professional.
I had to hold it together. I held it together. I walked out. I saw my main buyer, and I looked at him, and I had just the largest, what could we call it? Can I curse on this?
Yeah.
Shit-eating grin, Corey Dawn smile. It's just I'm going to cry if I don't keep the smile on. I looked at my buyer and I'm like, I've got to go. And he was like trying to talk to me. I was like, no, I'm leaving right now. And I walked out and I was like, and I called Andrew, and Andrew actually almost went down to the club to rip the guy a new one because it was so bad. So that's the one that I haven't been able to. But then, bottom line, if they're not a viable account, viable business worth my time, I just don't go back.
Yeah.
But sometimes there's so worth your time, and you have to do it because you have to keep that account for the company, and you have to deal with it. So. But that's my job, is social etiquette and social awkward situations. And
that's weird because you just talked about an element where you have generational issues right there.
Oh yeah,
ageism issues right there. I have that constantly because I look younger than I am, and so you're treated. I hate that.
Oh yeah,
I'll talk to you like you're my daughter. That is such a backhanded slap.
This is my my daughter needs to be prepared. I hope your daughter
is going through major therapy.
Give me her number.
Yeah, exactly. She and I will talk. She and I will talk. Not
No. And it's so crazy because 60s now, it's probably they're still probably coming from that time when they still had martini. It's that Mad Men era with the people.
And that's exactly sit in the back of the bus.
Yeah,
and that's exactly he was his. You can tell his dream isn't to be working at this club in Pasadena. Sure. He wanted to be the GM of the Jonathan Club that has the private floor for men.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Do they still have the private floor?
I think so.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if they do. I know they did. I know they did up to 5 years ago.
A lot of things in the past.
So, you could tell he's not happy with his lot in life, and
So then the power trip.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and he's answering to insanely wealthy 85-year-old white men in Pasadena. So there you are. So it's trickles down. So, but.
Oh God!
But that's where the wine comes in handy.
Picture and be good about that. Oh my God!
Yeah, it was a rough day.
Wow.
You know what's so funny? I was just thinking about is all three of us grew up in LA.
Yeah.
And then fun fact for all of you out there: Corey's dad, may rest in peace, he was the best. He was one of the Marlboro.
Amazing.
Yeah. So we all come from a line of having to deal with celebrities of sorts in LA and this lifestyle where it's no, we're not no offense, but we're not a small town girl that you can treat like that. We've been used to the business and how corrupt and how shitty. So I feel all of us want to fight back right away and be who the hell do you think you're talking to? Where a lot of people can be manipulated because they come to this big city.
Absolutely. I was born and raised here with it. I mean, and I also worked at CBS. Don't forget, I was a production assistant for 2 years on the show working. And I'm my whole family's in the industry. And I'm just No. Just no.
First of all, big city kids, I think, tend to grow up faster.
Absolutely.
And then two, if you are part of the industry, then entertainment just
Yes.
and then you grow up even faster.
Yeah.
Because you're just exposed to so much more. at
So
such a young
much.
age. Yeah.
So much.
Yeah. And so with that, I guess you get exposure gives you better skill sets, hopefully.
Absolutely. And I think that's why I can handle those situations the right way.
That's
exactly.
why I'm like, I hope I'm saying this right.
No, you're absolutely saying it right, and that's why when it's appropriate, I will take you down a notch. And also when it's appropriate, I will sit there and be like, okay, I'm going to lose it when I leave here because that's not going to do me anything.
But I have a hard time, and I know you do, of leveling that because I have a bite.
Oh, I do too. But I'm
that's why I love them both. Yeah.
I'm nice until the point that I'm not.
You guys are scarier than me because you guys can level it before you guys attack me. I'm just like, that's my drama. Like, you guys
The
are
crazy
scarier.
thing is, and I know as women, you can generally get that the perception, right, is that you're being difficult, you're being a bitch.
Bitch.
She just
I'm like,
doesn't
not
know.
difficult, bitch.
Oh, yeah. Or she can't handle it. She's a woman. She can't deal.
handle
Or
it.
you watch other men or boys really raised higher than you in jobs and get opportunities that you're not, even though you're more qualified or better at it. And if you were to say anything, they'd be like, who are you?
Yeah.
So there's that whole sexist mentality that happens, but it's about vocalizing your power and position.
Absolutely.
And I know the world right now is kind of dealing with that and dealing with a whole lot, but like
Whole lot.
yeah. So in the social scenario of like wine and drinking and alcohol, how does alcohol play with that? Because I feel like alcohol just kind of pumps it all up.
I've been in many situations where I need to get out of those situations. Yeah. I've that's again another aspect of no, I don't go there anymore. No, I don't. I'm not available for private tastings at 8 p.m. I've had some fun nights with Andrew coming too, and friends of mine that I know would never let anything happen to me.
Right.
But the people that are there,
Right.
I can't trust. And so I've removed myself from those situations because, there have been some, not that I ever felt in danger,
Right.
but
this
I've
is coming
felt
from
that
a confident person who knows herself and stays grounded.
there is one house in Monterey Park. There are no doors on the bathrooms in this house. And I had many wine events at this house, and it was always
public
like,
house?
No. It's a guy's house. It's a man's house, and this is his man den, whatever it's called. But it's his own house.
Sure.
It's called a lawsuit waiting to happen.
And there are no doors on the bathrooms. And I went to 2 or 3 events there. Jesus. Andrew came for one of them, for one of the dinners, and a friend that I worked with. But I finally just had to start saying no. I'm like, I'm just not, like, I'm a mom. I don't have time. I'm not sitting here. I'm not 20 looking to further anything in my life. It was like one of those situations.
Yeah.
So, it can, you have to be really
aware.
Yes,
Let's
aware.
tell all the women out there, 'cause,
Aware.
like late 30s, 40s, I learned it the hard way of I do not believe in going to dinners and meetings after like 5 p.m. I don't do it. I did it once in New York, and I through a friend, and the guy ends up wanting to take me to a strip club. In New York, and I'm just like, what? And I went with him to another bar and did this because I was trying
went to
to
the second
network
location
through a friend. Never go to the second location. Exactly. We talk about that a lot. Never go like abducted or.
It's very true, but Shauna, it's Shauna's tagline.
I always say it's so true. I always say because if you get abducted, you go to the second location, you're going to be
done.
killed. You're out for the slaughter.
You're done.
Yeah. So,
but you do. There's a certain point where you have to. And
what time is yours? Mine's 5 at this point.
Well,
4.
now pretty
Mine's
much 5. And thankfully, the thing that kicked it in there were 2 things that kicked it in for me. One, becoming a mom.
Yes.
I don't have time. I don't have time.
You don't want to make the time.
Even for a
and
female.
If you do have the time,
I
you don't want to spend it with that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And then the other was, and this is actually going back to the female aspect and whatnot, I became the top seller in my fucking company.
Right.
And that's the best way to be like, hey, you know what? And the bosses come to me. The bosses need me to get stuff done. So there's no, this man's making more because I am in control of that, you know, of my ability to sell.
Right.
So I've then learned, I'm like, I don't need to go to some party, you know, and sell a couple cases of wine on the side. I don't have time and I don't need it. So I had some cool things happen that moved me out of that, you know. But
so what can we say right now to help folks when they haven't arrived to that kind of confidence yet? Do you know what I'm saying? Because right now, all three of us are talking about we had to go through it to learn it, to do it.
Dude, so much.
You do.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that you shouldn't feel bad about putting your foot down and using your boundaries. Like 5 o'clock. There should be a time. What are you willing to do? And know that at the outset, right?
Well, at the end of the day, so I've been through a divorce, and I remember going to a therapist while I was trying to get through that. Yeah. And one of the things that it's used all the time, but it's the analogy of you got to put the oxygen mask on before you know.
Yeah.
And I was, you know, and I would say, oh, but I have to go to X, Y, and Z. And she'd be like, why? Why is it your responsibility? Why is it that you're putting yourself out constantly? And that's what I would say. Because I remember telling you, I felt like a bitch half the time when I was like, no, I don't want to go do that because it's not serving me and I don't want to be doing that. I felt like a bitch. Yeah. And I would ask my friends, be like, check me. Like, am I being a bitch or am I standing up for myself?
So crazy that you say that because I for a moment in time, I kept getting told I was that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
You're
know
being
how to
closed off. You're being a bitch.
Yeah, I don't know how to talk to people. I'm being too rough, blah, 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 blah. But then when I looked at the commonality of where that was coming from.
It's the people that you didn't need in your life.
At all. And that also are like, when all men think they are more than what they are.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, okay, wait a minute. Let me get back to me. Why am I giving over my power to them and caring so much about what they think? Because I really don't. It's not important enough. They're not helping me.
I don't lose sleep over you at night.
In fact, I'm the one helping them. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of that, I don't know, shift in perspective, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, for most people, it does take going through it and figuring it out on your own. It was a tough pill for me to swallow, but I finally got there. I mean, I have a friend that I was still doing it with every single time. Alcoholic, drug addict, all that stuff. And every time he called, you know, I not always, but I made time for him, and it was just sucking from me.
Sure.
And I told Shanna last week, I was like, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. Yeah. I just don't have time. I don't.
Energy vampires.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like finding what I hate saying what serves you, because you should also be there for other people. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you're going to be by yourself. Most definitely at the end of life, or at chunks during it. You know, we're all lucky to get somebody in our lives, to have people in our lives. But at the end of the day, you have to be taking care of yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you have to like yourself. You have to be happy. You should be happy.
That's so crazy. It's like the new coin term, emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. And I feel and I feel like part of that is just actually knowing. You have to start with knowing yourself.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot of work to do that. Some people get it early on in life. I did not.
Yeah, you know, I was not one of those people that was super clear. Like, I'm so jealous of those people that like know what they want to do.
Oh, I never knew what I wanted to do. Oh my gosh, school. I was like, I majored in communications. Like, you don't.
Love it.
no
hey, we're communicating.
We're exactly. I was taught well.
And another thing is, it's like with prioritizing and stuff like that. Like if you have a friend like me, right? I don't have kids yet. However, I talked to an old friend that I haven't talked to in forever, and she just had a kid, and she was like, I'm so sorry, my kid's screaming in the background. I'm like, who are your friends? Because I know you guys, if you have a kid screaming, or you're like, Shauna, I gotta go because my kid, or it's nap time, or it's like it's dinner time. If you're a good friend, kid or not, like you're like, see you later. Like, Gail was saying that about Oprah, how Gail would always, my mom was very big on this too. Like when she'd be on the phone with Oprah, who's her best friend. And when Gail's kids would walk through the door, she'd be like, Oprah, and we're talking about Oprah Winfrey here. She's like, I gotta go. Oprah. My girls or my kids have just walked through the door. That's a good parent. And that's a good friend where Oprah's like, you go. You know what I mean? Because I don't care who you are. Like if that's your priority and you have a good friend, like that should be your priority is your child. So having someone that's drunk, taking your time, emotional, like mom or not, like,
and also
if you have a friend that don't
what
understand
you
that.
gotta do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and they should understand that because that's family. You know what I mean? And if they don't understand it, then they're a big child. So
no, they're the succubus in this world. I mean, honestly, they're the ones that are just looking for themselves. There's no, and you and I also talked about it recently, where it's just like, in order to have a relationship, it needs to serve both parties.
Yeah.
And you as well. I've cut out a lot of people where I'm like, if I'm not getting anything reciprocation here, like I'm good. Like,
and it's okay to outgrow friends. I remember not realizing. I mean, when it first happens, you're like, oh my God, are we just not friends anymore?
Yeah.
How is that so weird? What do I do?
Yeah.
But then a week goes by and you're like, but I'm okay though, because I'm really not in the mood to go chill. I'm not going to call you. You know?
And it's
exactly. Okay. And it happens for a lifetime. Like it's constant.
And that's why I was keeping up with this one friend, was because I was like, well, and he doesn't even live here. And I'm just like, well, if he comes back, and I'm like, I don't have time. Like, I just don't have time.
Asked to send you photos of your son or any of that. You know what I mean? All of that. It's just not reciprocal.
It's not. No.
And that begs the question, it's like, how do you become a good friend too? Because that also is in a relationship that does take work.
What do you mean, how do you become a good friend?
Well, no, some people, like, we're talking about good friends, bad friends. You're not being a good friend right now. I need somebody to, you know what I mean? Those kind of conversations. And friends do that because that's building blocks also.
It's absolutely building blocks. And, you know, it's funny because I've just become, I have a new friend. It's very exciting. It's very exciting. It's a mom friend. It's a mom
friend. It's so
friend.
crazy. After you reach a certain age.
It's true. I'm like,
I have a new friend. I'm like, this is interesting. I'm navigating a friendship.
Yeah.
But she's a mom friend, and it's one of those things that's really cool that our sons, our sons are friends, and I'm like, oh, and we actually mesh. This is interesting.
Yeah.
You know? So, and I'm finding that because there are times, especially like with COVID, let's say it, that, you know, she was having like panic attacks and stuff like that, and I was going through the panic attacks, and it was just like, okay, I don't have time for your panic attack. I'm having a panic attack.
Right.
But then it was also taking a step back, going, okay, I'm not having that bad of a panic attack. She sounds like she needs me. And then I've seen it reciprocated. That's right. So it's you do have to give yourself, and it is hard to sometimes be like, do I want to give myself? But then when you get it back, it's like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
We can vibe. We can be friends, you know? So is she Shauna? No.
It's okay. I'm not jealous. It's fine. She can be my new friend too, everybody.
I have room for more.
Exactly.
I have room for more.
I have like this many fingers.
Right. But that's weird because, like, I know if I'm super busy or I've caught myself in a busy period in life, especially right now with like,
oh gosh, you're a new mom.
Thing. Oh. I'll catch myself saying, I have no time for new friends right now, new people. Yeah. I just don't have time for new people. Because I don't need to
She's killing the new
myself
mom game, by the way.
I know she is. I know she is.
It's insane.
With help. Like, and that's where the whole new, I'm about to start a mommy and me thingy because you just need it. You
have
need
to.
camaraderie.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
And I get it now.
I got a question for both of you. How has it been? I know different stages, but with a 4-year-old and then, you know, a 5-month-old, how has it been for both of you during COVID during this time? For people out there that need to, like, some affirmation that it's not perfect. You know, this must be insane.
The thing that Andrew sent me an article the other day, and this like nailed it on the head, was you can't be a parent and work during COVID.
No. Yeah. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I am really in a blessed situation where I have a very flexible job. I create my own schedule. Mm-hmm. Andrew also has a flexible job. He does a lot. He's an artist, so he has a lot of different things going on. Has it been easy in any way, shape, or form? No. It's been the hardest thing we've ever gone through. Right. You know, you're balancing, especially at my guy at his age, I'm freaking out that he's going to be behind in school. You know?
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, I'm just like, wait, I'm
actually grateful that I don't have to worry about that element of it.
You know, I'm just like, I'm homeschooling all of a sudden and working and trying to keep up with going to the grocery store and buying 3 weeks worth of stuff all at once and cooking and
safety
cleaning that.
Yeah.
It's been mentally draining. It's been mentally, emotionally draining. You know, it's been rough. Has our child learned an insane amount and has progressed? Yeah, he's learned so much. I'm dominating homeschooling.
Yeah.
He knows that he knows like visually, like his letters, his alphabet, like,
she's killing it.
you know, we've incorporated a homeschooling, like a Zoom homeschooling thing. It's circle time, but it's 25 minutes, and she's teaching them the alphabet and stuff. Like, so, you know, and then we got our babysitter back too, which is because I couldn't.
a rock wall.
We built a climbing wall. We built a climbing wall.
For Grace.
We went insane. We went insane.
I barely put up a clock during COVID, okay? I was like, wow, we put up a mirror and a clock. So we're really killing it, okay? It's just my husband and I.
We've been going insane. We've been doing a lot. But but you know,
good.
like, and
he
thinks
anxiety at bay.
It helps the anxiety. It helps. Well, it's also when he wakes up in the morning and goes, "Mom, what are we doing today?" And I'm like, the same thing we've done for the last 3 months. Like, this is it. I'm like,
Well, you hit it on the head. Routine has been what's been saving me from my panic
you
and
have
anxiety.
to keep a routine, and it's so hard to do because you're like, you just want to lean into just being like, this is horrid.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to keep a routine going.
You have to, and you got to be active. You can't just watch TV all the time. You can't keep your kid in front of the screen.
No.
And
trust me, I wish I could.
I know. I mean, I have.
I'm like, what?
It's a
You're
baby.
bored?
You can't even watch. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So.
And with him, you're constantly having to just make sure.
Yes.
So I don't envy you either. Is the
it's
thing
rough.
This is a crazy
because
age.
it's like, and it's like, okay, do you end? There's no good age to go through it. You know what I mean? It's like, is it 12-year-old's better age?
I
No.
think college could be fun, where your kid goes to college and then comes back and hangs out with you.
Totally.
But that's it. They're adults by now.
Yeah, it's like you've got an age where it's constant. It's hands on.
Oh yeah, no. There's no
no
walking around without hands free. Like,
I can
that whole
literally.
thing, that Bjorn is my best friend.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you as a new parent and a new baby, you figure out first of all how to parent.
Yes.
And then you have to listen. There's that one.
Yeah.
There's the listening, keeping it alive, like the whole bit, and then all of a sudden
Keeping it alive.
Yeah,
that's
it's
real.
about entertaining.
It's true.
entertaining the baby, right? There's a lot of hours in the day, and you are not. I mean,
You
so
can
painfully
never.
clear.
You're
you
never
can,
off.
No,
You're never off.
And then sleep is an element, and you know, and I've been
you
very.
want this baby.
I do.
Yeah, you do. I've been very fortunate because, I mean, the whole pandemic with the stay-at-home stuff. My husband also is a creative, and he's able to work from home. We're familiar with that kind of that situation. So we've been able to kind of be full-time parents together while also working on this stuff. And he's had the night shift. Yeah. So the sleep thing has been a real good. That's a good scenario for me, and I'm so grateful for that. But that being said,
you're constantly on.
Of just catching of the unknown of the sickness itself and going out, that's been so anxiety.
Are you still on that anxiety? Or
No.
Okay, I was going to say you calmed down.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like I have. I wouldn't have been here a month ago.
Wow, yeah.
I know.
You can't keep it up.
Mental health.
Well, I also, I mean, not to get into the pandemic, but I also am at a point where I kind of feel like we just need to get immune to it. New York had no deaths yesterday.
It's amazing.
Isn't that amazing?
And that's because they're all infected, you know? And it's like, at a certain point, we can't just lock ourselves in our houses.
Yeah, no, and life has to, we want to get back to living life. We want to get back to just doing.
But be smart. Be around smart people.
Sure.
Exactly. Remember
when everybody just had sex with each other and you can't even like share a cup with anybody now or a drink of soda? Like,
you have to get permission to hug your friend.
Did you catch yourself when you first went out and the minute you walked by somebody, it was like, you go, I go? That like 6 foot personal circle that was happening? That was so crazy.
Especially because my job, I was still, though they were telling me to stay home as much as possible, my direct managers were saying stay home as much as humanly possible.
Sure.
My owners were like, we need to see generation. And they did furlough some people. And so we kind of were just given the like, on the DL, make it so you don't get furloughed, but stay home and be safe. So I was going into grocery stores like day one, and it was frightening. It was nerve-wracking. It was emotionally exhausting. I'd get home from a 3-hour day, and I would be like, I'm so tired. Like it was really rough. So I'm glad
no
I
leadership.
finally.
There's no kind of real information. You don't know what to trust.
That's the problem.
Really that's
the problem. Is if people, and I didn't even know that there was a press conference today. I had no clue.
I stopped looking at the news. It was too much.
One of my accounts called. He's like, well, now that that's over, I was like, oh, tell me what happened.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess I should be paying attention, but I had to stop because it was too confusing. It was all over the place.
I listen to news on podcasts now because I can't watch it.
Yeah. All I do is I look at the
highlights,
the toll
for sure.
The little website, and like I used to look every single day. Now it's like every 2 weeks. I'm like, I should probably check that out. I'm like,
that will change every hour.
Exactly. I'm like, that jumped up extraordinarily a lot.
Okay, I'm going to change the topic.
Yes,
for a
please.
Quick second, real quick. Rosé. Let me ask you a question about rosé.
Yes.
This rosé all day. Okay, like this came out. It was like, okay, like when you put my lab coat on is like what I do with my life. Like I know the science behind why blueberries, because we had an abundance of blueberries, so then they made it antioxidant.
Yes.
And it was brilliant. It was great, but it was just to sell the blueberries at the end of the day.
Right.
They made it this big thing. What's up? Where the hell did rosé all day come from? And like, why is rosé such a huge? Did it come out of nowhere, or just marketing? Or I just feel like for the last few years, it's like White Claw. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere. White Claw.
I love rosé though because.
But have you always loved rosé?
Yeah, because for me it felt like a mix between a red and a white, but mostly a white, and I prefer whites. And it was bright and sunny and like crispy and just smooth. Yeah, fully. Yeah. And I love summertime whites.
What is it?
What is rosé? So rosé is a number of different things.
Okay.
It's more of a white than a red.
Okay.
You can do rosé in a couple different formats. It could be the runoff juice from a red, so it's a light, just runoff that comes out of that's how it is actually done first. That's what White Zinfandel was. It was the runoff from, not that this is that's White Zinfandel at all, but the White Zinfandel was runoff from Zinfandel grapes, and they were like, oh, we could do something with this. That's sweet, gross, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Rosé can be done as runoff. It could be done Saignée style, which Saignée is just where the grapes actually the pressure of the grapes kind of just get enough of the juice coming out, and the skins sit on it just slightly. And then they press the juice after that, and that just is a nice little pink. That's typically a French style of doing it.
Yes.
And then you can do it where they press the grapes and it just sits on the red skins slightly. Again, there's multiple different ways of doing it. It is all sorts of varietals. Mm-hmm. This one I looked it up before we came on. Tempranillo. It's
Edna Valley rosé.
Yeah, Edna Valley, but it's like
listening right
Tempranillo, Grenache, Merlot. I think there was some Cinsault in there. Mm-hmm. It's a whole little collection.
Interesting.
So sounds like it's probably more of a dry rosé, which is nice.
Okay.
But that's where it came from. So California rosés were sweet. California always had, it's called RS, residual sugar. So it was always slightly sweet. It wasn't White Zinfandel, but people had a bad relationship with rosés because they were sweet. Mm. The French rosé is dry. The Chilean rosé is typically dry. And the French rosé is just started picking up popularity here. Right. And then the California winemakers started copying that style. So it's like a Provence style rosé. So it's light, it's crisp, it's refreshing. It's on the dry side, not the sweet side. Dry means no sugar. Mm-hmm. So they started gaining popularity. So then what happened? All of the wineries started making rosés. Mm-hmm. So when I started with my company 6.5 years ago, rosé was still getting the, oh no, I don't drink pink, and I'd have to go and I'd have to explain, no, this isn't sweet. Trust me, try it. You're going to like it. Right. Now, I've got enough rosés, leave. I don't need rosé. Because everybody started making it. Right. The one winery that I had, it was the rosé that I sold. Right. We would sell out within the 6 months. We'd be out of product. We'd have to wait another 6 months until they would bottle again. So what did they do? They amped up production. Mm. What did all the other wineries do? They came out with rosé. Had a discount the other rosé. Can't move it. There's, So the market just got flooded because people found popularity in it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What's the most expensive bottle of wine you've ever sold?
I sell Grange, Penfolds Grange. It is I'm going to give the retail price because I'm
Grange is what?
Grange. So Penfolds is a winery in Australia. They mostly are known for their Shiraz. They do Shiraz, Cabernet. They do have a lovely Chardonnay.
Mr. Bartender, I think we served the Penfolds cab.
Really? 407. There was. I can go into. I'm not even going to bore you with all of them.
Nerding it out. I was like, I don't remember. I just drink it.
But Penfolds Grange retails for about $800. If you see it on a wine menu, it's about $1,200 for the bottle. Wow. It's the most 100 score rated wine, so they've received, I think it's 4 or 5 100 ratings since like 1975, and it essentially the wine outlasts the cork, so it's as long as it's stored correctly. Yeah. But so they've opened bottles from like 1951 that are still in excellent condition, and they actually have a recorking clinic.
Okay,
it was
so this is a different Penfold. I'm trying to remember.
No, this is
no way.
No. Yeah. You either sold like Max's, Canunga Hill, 407, something like that. That's more the accessible.
Yeah, because I was like, there's no way.
You're like, there's no way. Yeah. No, so that's the most expensive. The most expensive bottle of rosé I've sold. How much did that retail for? $125 for rosé.
Okay.
That's my favorite to come home to Andrew and be like, after tastings, be like, taste this. Oh, that's good. Taste that. Oh, that's good too. This one's 20. This one's 120. And he's just like, what the fuck?
Right?
Like, it's ridiculous. Delicious.
Yeah.
You actually, no, you didn't drink any. You drank some at your bridal shower.
That was
giant.
Yeah, I remember
that giant magnum.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, with the blue and
I haven't had a glass of liquor in, I don't know, God.
Glass of liquor. That's about
I just gotta think of it that way. I'm a vodka girl and I haven't had vodka in so long.
You turn red too.
That's an Asian red thing.
It is.
A cultural bit, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And, rosé on my face.
Yeah. You don't pump it up?
Yeah.
I haven't yet. And
like during COVID, you haven't pumped it up?
I do deserve a pump and dump.
Oh, yeah, you do.
But,
yeah, you do.
Yeah, but it's weird. I had that crazy about the milk.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get obsessive because it's like that liquid gold thinking. And you're
trust
like,
me,
oh my God, I can't waste it.
Yeah,
One drop it, I'm like, ooh.
Well, you're looking at a girl that I had just gotten back from maternity leave. He was 4 months old.
Yeah.
Sorry, he was 3 months old. I just got back from maternity leave. I had to go on a work trip.
I remember that.
I had to go on, and I should have, in retrospect, this is one of those moments I should have been like, no. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
My mom came down to help with Gray, and I had to go on a Greyhound bus with like 45 reps, and some of them are like frat boys that are like, we're away from our wives. I was pumping in the bathroom on the Greyhound bus, and then having to just chuck the milk because I couldn't get to a hotel room to put it in the fridge.
Oh man!
Oh no!
That would have broken me.
It did.
Devastating.
And I think that was the
first. A lot of work to pump.
And that was the catalyst to me having issues moving forward because I guess he was 4 months old.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's
feeding your child too, so you don't want to waste that.
Yeah.
And you're thinking,
and I had to throw it out.
I had
to throw it out. It was bad. It was bad. So
there was no cooler bag scenario that you could have.
Not safely.
Yeah.
Not safely. I couldn't come home and be like, here.
Okay.
It's 4 days old and it may have been more.
Here you go.
Sorry, subject change.
It's a real thing.
I know, I believe it. Yeah. I believe it. But back to the girl that has no kids yet.
Like wine and breast milk.
Yeah, let's talk back to wine for a second. So just bring it back. So if I were to go in the store and if I were to, what are 3 things or 2 things that I should look at if I don't know what I'm doing, red or whatever? What's a standard 2 things that I should get like with price point? Like, okay, so let's say I have a price point of up to $15.
Okay.
What would you say if it's a white or if it's a red? Like, what would you say? If that's a good price point? If I
up to 15 is a great price point.
$30.
Oh no, you by no means have to.
Okay.
There are killer wines for under 15. There are killer wines for under 10.
Okay.
It just depends on where you're going. I know I was explaining the Trader Joe's situation to you guys. When I don't have wine at the house, because God knows that I don't, use it for ship. We drink it. No, I go to Trader Joe's because they have excellent wines at excellent prices. They work that out because they do private labeling. They cut costs with getting the wine from the winery to them. They have all sorts of things that bring us wines at a value that aren't value wines. Mm-hmm. But if you go into, say, like Whole Foods, $15, you can get a good bottle of wine between that, like, $12 and $15 mark. My suggestion because there's no trick for getting a bottle of wine that you're going to like. That's partially what got me into studying wine, because I was sick and tired of going to a store, grabbing a Sauvignon Blanc, getting it home and being like, that's sweet, I don't like
And
that.
you spent so much.
Exactly.
I don't trust, for some reason, going to a liquor store, I don't trust the guys behind the counter.
They don't
because
know.
they just want to sell.
They don't care.
They don't care. Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah.
So I started getting into it because I wanted to know the differences, why I didn't like that one, why I like that one, how do I read a label. That was the first thing, was like, how do I read a label? I actually bought a book to figure out how to read a label. So you should find a wine that you do like, and figure out where it's from. So, Edna Valley. Edna Valley makes some great Pinot Noirs, Chardonnays. It has heat, but it also has the cooler climate, so it can grow some really lovely grapes. If you're getting a California appellated wine, those grapes are being grown all throughout California. They can source them wherever they want. Which could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. They could be sourcing them just to make it cheap. They could be sourcing them all throughout California to make it the best wine possible for the price point. So you just need to find things that you like. Reading the back of the label, sometimes it has flavor profiles.
Totally does that. He'll read it. I'm like, what is it? Whatever.
Well,
I like the
sometimes
font.
it'll say
Does he know what he's looking at?
But he likes to see if he likes those ingredients. I never do that, but he's better than I. You know what I mean? Actually, reading the labels.
You do that for food?
You're damn right I do.
Yeah, you
not
do.
wine. It's so weird. I'm like, I like the bottle. Like, I know that's why I'm asking her. I'm like, I don't know it. Otherwise,
Well, that's the thing.
No one's doubting that. Yeah.
If some people, it's also it's chef's choice where the winemaker can put what it tastes like on the back, or they could put the grapes that are in it, or they could put the exact process that they used to make it. So you can't always rely on that either.
There's no regulation there.
There's no.
That's interesting.
There's regulation on the alcohol content.
Yes, of course.
It's pretty much it.
Yeah.
No FDA.
There's no FDA. There's ABC, and they regulate what's said on the label. They regulate the alcohol content to make sure that it matches what's on the label. But as far it's chef's choice. But what I would say is, like, don't veer away from red blends. Red blends that's the prime example. If you're into red wine, red blends are the prime example of chef's choice, because if you're making a Cabernet, Pinot Noir, anything that's varietal specific, you have to, for the US, you have to have 75% of that wine has to be Cabernet. So if the winemaker, say, tastes the Cabernet juice by itself and they really only like 69% of it to be Cabernet and they want to blend other stuff, it's all of a sudden a red blend. But they're typically doing that because it's not as good as having 75% Cabernet. So my big thing, don't veer away from red blends. I think red blends are actually some of the best wines.
From them.
They're some of the best
drinking
wines.
red wines, actually.
Okay.
Because I get headaches.
Yeah, and something like 65 or 70% of people are allergic to the sulfites.
Yeah.
And that's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like there's something in the Asian gene, the culture, that is predisposed to being allergic to alcohol, which is insane.
Which is hysterical because...
And I think if you take Pepcid, it'll lighten up the red,
yes.
I'm told.
Yes, I have heard that.
Yeah, and okay. But
the Asian market's one of my biggest markets, though. It's
yes.
the funniest
I always
thing.
find that funny.
I sell so much red wine to the Asian market. It's so much red wine.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't. That's so, it's weird. Like alcohol, period, especially when going out and like being with folks and stuff, I never, and I knew this just naturally, right? But bartending too, you just don't want to be that one. So I never wanted to be that person. Yeah. So I had to experiment and I had to figure out what my level was. I was like, I'm good here. Yeah. So let me figure out how to work a whole night into this here. Yeah. And also then you figure out, if you haven't drunk in a while, you're a cheap day. Like one is enough. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're like, I get it. So you have build up your tolerance. And also if you have any kind of like social anxiety or you're just not fully comfortable yet because you're meeting new people and you just want to put your best foot forward and you have to, like, you can't. I did that at Andrew's. You can't act all out bananas. You know what I mean?
I did that at Andrew's reunion. He took me. I did. It was my first weekend away from Grayson, and he dragged me to Minnesota to meet all of his college friends, which I had met some of them like at the wedding and stuff. But it was a reunion weekend. It was,
and everyone's acting like not themselves.
And it was like, and none of the other. I didn't know anybody, and none of the other spouses came because they were like, no, it's a reunion weekend. Like, why would we do that? So I was basically by myself.
You should have gone somewhere else.
I shouldn't have gone. And he and I talked about it after. I was like, I shouldn't. Like, this was silly. Like, this was really silly. He
should
wanted
have found out if other wives were
exactly.
coming.
Like, there was like one, and it was just, but it was like that one didn't go to the events, and it was just like. So I was in a social setting where it was like the first night, and there were food trucks, but there was free flowing alcohol, and I drank. I drank, and then I just ended up sitting on the grass by myself because everybody was like talking, and I had nobody to talk to.
Right.
My shoes were cutting into my feet, and so I just sat on the grass and drank. And then when he came over to stand me up, I couldn't stand up. He was like, everybody went out after. I'm like, you could have gone. I was like, again, I shouldn't have been there. You know, it was everything you just said. It was social anxiety. It was meeting people for the first time. I had nobody to engage with, and there was lots of wine. I did it.
But see, what I love there is that you gave yourself permission. You were okay.
Yeah, and then the next day, I was that one. But then they all of the friends, they were like, "We get it. Like, why were you there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, exactly. Nice to meet you. Now we're friends. You know."
Yeah.
So
great. Let's have brunch.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Let's have brunch. Let's do it.
And the one friend, she was like, I take weed pills for my social. I was like, great. So she was like feeding me like weed that night. And I was like, okay.
Wait. There's a weed pill?
Oh,
It was like CBD and THC. Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, well, this is interesting. So there's
You don't
weed
want to
everything.
smoke it no more?
Smoke it.
She was pregnant for too long. You can eat it. You can smoke it. You can
I know you
swallow
could
it.
You can eggs. You could like put ointment on your temple. Yeah, like a whole bit.
Tinctures. You could do oils. Like, huh?
It goes into your. I guess it goes in your blood. So
Yeah.
it's the same.
It takes away the whole enjoyment.
Maybe
of
it
the
goes
whole
slower or
experience.
something. Well, there you go.
See, I don't really like it though. Is my thing.
Wait.
I don't like feeling like I can't remember why I'm sitting on the couch. Like I don't like that.
So you lose memory.
Oh, I like sit there and I'm like, there was one time when I remember Andrew brought an edible home and I ate it. And I walked past Grayson's bedroom. It was like 2 years ago, and I walked past Grayson's bedroom, and I was like, I need to be quiet. And I was like, why do I have to be quiet though? I can't remember. I forgot I had a kid. I was like, no, I'm good.
Weird child.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, no, I don't like it.
I used to be
I'm
such
sensitive.
a stoner. I was a stoner.
Oh, were you?
And
That's
then
amazing.
There came a point where all of a sudden, I know what it is, but I got paranoid. I couldn't smoke anymore.
Really?
And it was like a big
Was it a
breakup.
bummer? Aww.
It was such a big breakup. It was really sad. Like I got depressed over it for a little bit there, because it was just part of my childhood raising and what I did and lifestyle and the whole bit.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it. But all of a sudden, I remember catching myself socially in places where I'm like, thinking someone's behind my shoulder, I'm looking bad.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
it was crazy bumpers,
Oh
and
my
I was like,
gosh.
and when I figured out that it was the weed,
Yeah. Devastation.
oh my god,
Aw.
I know. And now, and of course, growing up when it wasn't legal, you were like, they need to legalize.
Yeah. And now you're like,
it's all over the place.
now you're
I'm
like, there's a pill? Oh, you're so cute.
Well, this is perfect. This is a perfect segue.
so
So,
ages me too. I'm like, god damn.
God damn.
And they deliver.
And they deliver.
Kidding?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so with you in the business of wine,
Yes.
do you see, now that they've legalized weed,
Yes.
do you see, like, what do you see in the business that you're in? Like, do you see weed becoming,
Incorporated.
like...
Well, there is weed wine. I haven't tasted it. It doesn't
There
sound
is?
good. Yeah, somebody.
That doesn't sound right.
No.
But I don't mean
What's
like
the point?
incorporate like with the wine.
No, of
I
course.
mean like
How are the industries?
Like
So-
could you ever see yourself leaving wine
Hell
and
yeah.
making more money with weed?
Okay, so that is.
And actually CBD, because that's the
CBD.
more prevalent of the
Yeah. So when everything got legalized, some of the wine companies, actually the distribution companies, actually sold off all of their labels and went into weed. They dumped all their money into weed.
Amazing.
I actually haven't followed them to see how they're doing, but I'm sure they're doing great.
Yeah.
But I can wholeheartedly say that I think for a future, especially with everything going on right now, but for a consistent income with job security and whatnot moving forward, I think CBD and weed would be a safer
The
bet for me.
reefer, everything your mother told you not to do, you can see income coming
My
legally
mom
and
is
government.
freaking taking CBD with THC.
Well, that was
like,
why it wasn't legal for so long.
Yeah.
Is because the government couldn't figure out a way to make money off of it. I mean, remember, it wasn't
Tax that
too long
shit.
ago when alcohol was completely prohibited.
and that didn't last that long.
No.
Because God, no. I
And you
mean,
pay taxes, and they get a piece of that pie every single
Absolutely.
time. And look how
Absolutely.
much. I mean, you can buy as much as you want. I mean,
well, and that's the thing is, you know, though I am not a fan, like I personally would prefer to get into like CBD sales over THC. Like I'm more interested in ointments and balms and, you know, ailment kind of situation because I like health.
Right.
I also want to get into that over wine because of the health factor, because I'm so sick and tired of having a cellar of wine at my house. I know that sounds like an amazing thing for people to have, but I'm so tired of socially drinking for work, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm like, where was I going with this?
CBD.
CBD,
and
I know.
Going into it.
For health.
Lost it.
Going into it's okay. I was hooked. Yeah, CBD,
Yeah.
CBD going with weed and going into that market. So would you go? To
I would go
questions?
into that market.
You would,
especially now with everything that is transpiring with the restaurants and everything that's going on. Oh, that's what I was going into. Sorry, is though I'm not an advocate for THC in regards to smoke it every day, be high all the time. So that is why I have been hesitant to be like, it's okay. Because, you know, especially with a son being like, I don't want him thinking at 14 it's okay to smoke weed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Will he? Probably. I don't know. But I would rather it not.
That'd be an interesting conversation.
Well, it's like the more things that are accessible, the more that I feel there are chances that he could have some issues. But I also, you know,
but the mystery's gone from it too.
Exactly.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
That's the big thing.
He may not
and
even
so,
want to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then cut to how many deaths, car accidents, blah, 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 are attributed to weed over alcohol. It's just a safer industry to get into, in my opinion. Sure. It's a safer industry. I think it's serving people a little bit more. And honestly, at the end of the day, I think I'm going to make more money in it.
Yeah.
I mean, and especially like I was back to what's going on now. I mean, the restaurants are open, then closed, and then closed, then open. And it's rough. I'm seeing a lot of people go out of business, you know, and I mean, so. We'll see what, I'm going to give it a few more months.
There's so much more growth happening with
So
the
much.
market.
So much growth.
Yeah.
So much growth.
I mean, like you said, it's like a new thing every day. A pill. Which I don't know where the enjoyment is, but hey, if you have to hide.
Yeah.
Well, it's like the Vicodin pills. You can't get those anymore. Doctors aren't just prescribing that shit. So
Really?
Yeah.
you try to go get a Vicodin.
Thank God.
I'm about to with my knee surgery and stuff. If it tweaks or I'm bone on bone, they're like, "Oh, I'll give you 2." I'm like, "You're gonna give me 2?" Like, if I. Some of
They
these
used
doctors,
to hand that over to me if I was in a car accident and they're like rear-ended with whiplash. It was just like, okay, take these and some
Like
muscle
candy.
relaxers.
Oh, I remember the 750s, the big thick ones.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had a headache and they would give me those now because they're just
Thank
so
God.
used, but especially in Los Angeles.
Well, thank God. I mean, honestly, I mean,
it's a gnarly
Well, that's the
addiction.
opioid thing.
It
But
is.
is it the Vicodin or was it the
It's
that's
Oxycontin, but there's Oxycontin.
Oxycontin,
Yeah, it's
yeah.
hydrocodone. So
Exactly.
it's gnarly. It's still got it in.
yeah.
Okay, so I could talk all day to you ladies. We'll have to bring you on again. But
As regular.
One last
Okay. I'm
Welcome
in.
to our first regular.
I know you were great. You killed this, Corey.
Yes.
But the last thing that I want to ask you, both of you, and all of us, and think about this yourself, you guys, is what would you say to your 20-year-old self? What, like, if anybody listening that's in their 20s, because I think it's about navigating, right? It's about 20s going to 30s, 30s into 40s. Like, you don't have to be old, you don't have to be midlife. It's how you feel inside. However, if you can tell yourself something that could help yourself along the way to navigate, or maybe.
No, there's so many things, but I mean, there's, for me personally, so many things. For me personally, don't get married before the age of 30. Too young.
That's a good one.
Value yourself.
Yes. Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself.
That's a big thing.
And just because, for me personally, just because you don't know what you want to do with your life doesn't mean you should waste it.
Ooh, boom. Very good.
I like that.
Those are great. I agree with all those.
I would add to that, actually, because those are all great things. I would say be nice to yourself, and it's okay to be who you are.
Absolutely.
Right now. Which means, you know what I mean? It's okay.
Yeah.
Give yourself permission to figure it out because you're figuring it out.
Yep.
And if you mess up, well, that's the time. I mean, mess up then and not mess up when you're 60. So, before, I just remember being in the 20s, and when I messed up, it was like life or death. And it would be so stressful. And I was like, I think back on it now, and I'm like, ay vey. Yeah. That was a waste of energy.
Most of my stuff was me feeling like I needed to keep my family happy. Because they were watching. Yes. They were always, that's, it's just be yourself, like you said.
Yeah.
Be okay with being yourself.
But I get it. It's just trying to be like what you think people think you should do. Or
I got married.
And
you, Shanna Fergna.
Oh, yeah.
Back to you.
I like interviewing. I was sitting here just being like, I never have to talk about myself ever. I just love asking questions. I would say be careful who you make memories with, because that shit lasts forever. So be really, like we were going back, everything that you guys were just saying is like, be careful who you spend excess amount of time with, and like negotiate time for, like spending time, with people that you don't really care about, and not having time with Grayson or Apollo, or, just make sure those are the people in your life. Because in my 20s, I think about so many people that were toxic for me, or wanted to use me, or have me listen to them, and all this shit where I'm like, where are you now? There's no substance. Like you two are here, which I'm so grateful for, but I'm happy to have released them at the end. But I'm like, I spent countless hours that I could have put into my business, myself, so many other things. So
you know that now.
But that's what I would tell my 20-year-old self. Like, stop being the boob for everybody. Like,
your 20-year-old self wouldn't listen, though.
You're damn right.
Mine wouldn't.
You're damn right. But I'm just saying, in hindsight. Hell no. There's a list that y'all, none of your business I should tell myself. But, I made memories on my own terms. So there you go. But
and that's what it is. You're making memories on your own terms. Remember, it's your terms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as long as they're your terms, then just ride with it. But be careful and cautious along the way. Right?
Absolutely.
Corey, you were a bomb guest. You were our first guest. You were our first guest. So you were our best guest by far.
Yay!
You killed that. You killed it. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure to comment. Tell us how much you love Corey. Ring the bell. Subscribe. YouTube, baby, all the way. And Andrew and Grayson, thank you for letting us take her for a little bit.
Yes.
And thank you. Rock Talk, not booze.